you know who gave his supporters marching orders to go to the polls and watch carefully. And with 13 days to go until Election Day, they're already taking him seriously. There have been cases of voters turned away at the polls. Threatening emails are being sent, warning people who to vote for. And a Miami cop could face suspension for wearing this mask at a voting station. I mean, what do you think? Is this all just meant to scare people as we talk about this, or do people need to just start calling their polling places and find out what the rules are in their area, what's okay and what isn't? I start with you, Anna. What do you think?
It's crazy, Whoopi. It's outrageous. It's offensive. Look, it's voter suppression. It's voter intimidation. Some of it we see is happening from Trump and his people, from his administration, what's happening with the post office, what some Republicans are trying to do in places like Texas, you know, make it in places like California where there's been fake ballot boxes. It's just this entire environment and ambiance of sowing discord and sowing distrust in the election system. When I saw the picture of the Miami cop, I immediately texted Francis Suarez, the mayor of Miami, and they took measures. And look, a cop doesn't lose his ability and his freedom of expression. But what they can't do is show up in uniform, armed, wearing political attire, political propaganda. That's the kind of police state stuff that happens in dictatorships in Latin America, and it scares people. And this morning, I spoke to a 20-year-old student at the University of Florida. It's her first time voting, and she received one of those threatening emails, and she was terrified. She told me she was terrified to leave her house. She was terrified to go outside. She didn't know how they had her personal email. And she took it seriously. And that is what they are trying to do. We must maintain the integrity of the elections. It is outrageous.
Yes. Sonny, what's your thoughts on all this?
Well, it just seems to me that it reeks of desperation, but primarily from the Republican Party. All of the shenanigans that seem to be coming up, are the Republican Party trying to limit the number of polling stations, the Republican Party in California putting out these sort of dummy ballot boxes. And now we're seeing this type of voter suppression going on. It just seems to reek of desperation because I don't see this happening, this type of voter suppression happening on the Democratic side. It seems like the Democrats are trying to encourage people to vote, right? They're asking people to mail in their ballots. They're asking people to early vote. So that's one thing that's striking. But the other thing is striking is I don't think in my lifetime I've seen police departments become so politicized, actually. And that is frightening to me. We know that the New York Police Department actually endorsed President Trump this year. I've never seen anything like that. And I've never seen anything like
the head of the... Yeah, it was the head guy. It wasn't the whole... He doesn't speak for the whole police department. That was his...
Yeah, it was the union, the head of the union.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Yeah. Police departments they're heavily reliant on unions, right? And for the New York Police Department's union to actually endorse Trump, that tells you how politicized these unions, these police departments are becoming, and that is frightening to me. And I also wonder, Whoopi, you know, he had a Trump mask on, and many people felt intimidated by that. Would they feel intimidated if that said Biden-Harris? I don't know. Why is it that when we see the Trump mask, we import voter suppression on that and fear? That struck me.
I think oftentimes, because of what we've been hearing the last several months, one puts those things together. But I'm interested in asking how concerned you are about all this, Sarah.
Well, I was most locking into the threatening emails that have been sent, because like Anna said about the voter, the first-time voter who got this email, on its face, I saw these headlines and I immediately became enraged. Like, of course this is happening. This is awful. And I kind of had a bit of a confirmation bias of what's happening here. And then when I read a little deeper, it ends up that CBS News and Vice News have since reported that some of these emails have actually been linked to other countries, including the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Estonia. And that was a scary reminder that while we're all so busy fighting each other, there are other countries and powers at work to capitalize on this civil unrest that's going on right now. And there was an expert in public policy and global affairs, a guy named John Scott Railton, that said, quote, "This is absolutely something to be concerned about. This is what election interference looks like." And I think it's a reminder that we absolutely know there's been suppression, intimidation, poll watchers. This narrative has been stoked this whole election. We know that exists, but we need to keep our eyes open that there are other people that are also fueling off this. And although we know America has work to do, it's great already, but we're imperfect and we're working on it. We are on one team as Americans, and no foreign power is welcome at the table.
But the Trump
Not even by
administration
our
was warned
president.
about this,
Joy,
Sarah.
what do you think?
Sarah?
Yes, they knew about it.
Trump
They knew
The
about
Trump
it and let it
administration
go.
was
They didn't
warned
do
about
anything.
foreign
But Joy,
interference.
Yeah.
It's not new.
Wait,
Foreign
Joy,
interference
I
is
was-
not new at all. I'm just saying that to know that these emails were specifically linked is a very scary reminder that this is happening again and will happen again,
Yeah.
and we
Yes.
have to keep our heads up.
Okay, what
So,
you know
Joy,
what
I was
really
gonna
gets
say-
me is that
Yeah.
what gets me is that the
Yeah.
postmaster himself, Louis DeJoy, is the major suppressor. You know, he and William Barr act like they just work for Trump instead of for the United States government. I just want to give you, first of all, he's a huge Trump supporter. He's given millions of dollars to Trump. And since he took over, 700 mail sorting machines have been removed. He has closed mail processing facilities. He's restricting overtime. And the latest out of the Wall Street Journal is that the postal police have been told to stand down and not do their job. These are the people who prevent robberies of collection boxes and mail vehicles. They're always talking about, oh, you have to go and guard the polls. That's what Trump keeps saying. But then they get rid of the police who would do that job. He has pulled postal policemen off the streets in battleground areas such as Detroit, Pittsburgh, Miami, and Atlanta. Now, since Trump cannot win legitimately, this is what he has to do. He has to cheat by putting his henchmen in these positions. It's unbelievable to me that the guy who's running the post office is the guy who is suppressing the votes. And the reason they're doing it is because, according to NPR, people planning to vote by mail prefer Biden 73 to 23%. Why is this guy DeJoy allowed to continue to suppress the vote? Who is in charge of him?
Here's what I want to say about all of this stuff. To your young lady in Miami, honey, don't let anybody tell you who to vote for. Nobody has that right. This is America. And in America, nobody tells you who to vote for. You go and vote for who you want to. And if you need to report, bring that piece of paper with you so that the poll people can see what they sent you. And you go vote no matter what. And anybody else who's out there, do not let anyone stop you from voting. Don't let anybody stop you, because that's what they want. They want everybody to get nervous and not go out. And I suspect that people are going no matter what. People are going to vote no matter what, because everyone seems to feel this is a moment in history where we must take back the narrative.